All right, so good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this, and welcome. So this is a video about our Angry Birds project that we started on the week of April 22nd. We will have a whole week to finish it, and this is kind of the groundwork to make sure you guys can do the equations. I'm going to walk through the basic setup of what is required of you, and then have you guys understand what my expectations are for your work going forward. Now, the 7th hour bell will ring. So disregard that, so I'll pause briefly. If you did this by yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to create 2 flight paths. Remember in class, we threw volleyballs on the Monday. If you missed Monday, sorry. You can make up the equations, and I'll show you how in a little bit. If you do it in a group of 2 other people, then you create 4 flights. Here's the rubric. It's up on the, it is up on my classroom wall as well in terms of what it means to do well. Turning it on time. Give me colorful, unique designs. All the transformations correct. Make sure your axis of symmetry is correct in terms of when you put a point that your quadratic formula looks nice and symmetric on both sides. Domain and range, all this stuff is on here, and Desmos. As we talked about before, make sure you give me a printout of Desmos. If you need help with that, come see me and we will talk. Here's an example of what something will look like that is good. Okay, now the only issue I have with this particular one is that the graph line here is not necessarily the best, okay? It could be better, but it's kind of how we're going to do it. We're going to do it a little different. And so this is what you guys would do. So some of you filmed it, and on your video that you can take your film and you can kind of figure out the vertex and the y-intercept. For those of you that did not do that, this is the graph paper you'll be using to graph with. Okay, now you can use another one if you want, but I set this up and numbered for you. So what you can do is come get a piece of this graph paper. Okay, I will include it in an email I'm going to send out to parents as well. And pick 2 random points. Okay, now the first point needs to be a vertex. Okay, so you would pick a vertex somewhere out here in your graphing area. For ease of maintenance and what I did in class all day is I'm going to pick the vertex of 25, 18. Okay, so that's going to be my first vertex. Is 25 over 18 up. So on here, I'd go 25 over 18 up. I'd make a dot. My other, and then the other point you have to come up with is your y-intercept. Okay, your y-intercept. So on here, you pick any coordinate. So on this particular equation, what I'm going to do is go 0, 4. Okay, so there are my 2 points that you need. Going forward, for anybody else that does this project, pick 2 other points that are different, please. Pick a different starting point. So another point instead of 0.4, I can start at 0.8. Or I can go down to 0.2 if you want to, all right? And then when you go anywhere up and down the spectrum here, and then pick a different vertex. If you pick 0.8, and then you pick a vertex that's like at 16 or 18 at high, you will have more of a straight throw that's kind of across the graph like this, okay? Or you can go high, or you can go low down here and shoot really high up in the air and make a nice big arch. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. The points that you pick to make the other graph is completely up to you. We threw a volleyball to kind of get the gist of it and kind of create an equation out of what we did, but you don't have to do the same thing. Once you get your 2 points, you do the math, okay? So this is all the math that's related to it. You take f of x is the same as y, so this would be 4 equals a. That's what we're trying to find, okay? We don't know what a is, so we're going to solve for a. Our x value is 0 minus h, which is 25, and then it's squared, plus k, which in this instance is 18, okay? Step 4 is to simplify to solve for a using orders of operations. So let's begin. It's going to be 4 equals. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple things combining together. 25 squared, you put that in your calculator, you should get 625, okay? And then it is a plus 18. So here's your setup here. Now you solve by doing your simple math, isolating the a, so you subtract 18 from both sides. When you set up with that, you get negative 14 here equals 625a, divide by 625. All right, and then I would get a, so this equals a. I don't want you to leave it like that. I want you to put this into a decimal. So on a calculator, you would type this in, And what you should come up with is a equals negative point. Now you can go 0 if you want. Let me redo that. It would be a equals negative 0.02. Only go to 100, okay? It's actually 224, but I don't care about the rest. Go to 100. So round up. Now, the only reason you would never go to 100 is if, ladies and gentlemen, you ended up with like a 0.001. Then you need to go to 1,000, okay? But stay with 100th if you want. So here's my A value. So on your paper that you're going to get, it says step 5 is write the vertex. So the vertex form of the equation is as follows. F of x, okay, equals your A value, which in this case is negative 0.02, and then it's x minus, that's the way it always is, h. My h is 25. 25 squared plus 18. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is my vertex form. So we got one of the equations done. So now what you do is you take this equation and you look at this information here and you answer it. So let me give it to you again. It's negative 0.2, and then it is x minus 25 squared plus 18. Okay, so that's what it is. So now it says horizontal shift. What is my horizontal shift? Well, it is this number here, 25. And so what you're doing is you're going 25 units to the right. Okay, most of you are doing this everybody's going to the right. Even if you threw the ball to the left, technically speaking, you're going to be going to the right. Okay, just to make sure you guys understand that. You're going to be going backwards. So some of you might get confused about that. Please don't. Okay, I just want you to give me the x and the vertex, and you'll be writing it, and you'll figure out. Some of you might be like, what? But just do that, okay? Your vertical shift is 18 units up. And then my dilation, what is it? Well, we didn't really talk too much about dilation. It is this value here of A, and all of you should get a number between 0 and 1, so this would be a wider dilation, okay? Unless you threw the ball straight up in the air and it almost came straight back down, you're going to be wider. Reflection is over the x-axis. All right, and then the domain, okay, is going to be all real numbers. And then what is my range? Well, my range on this is actually going to be the letter y. And then we are going to have a number set up here where, what is my vertex? Remember, my vertex is the highest point goes up. The highest point is actually 18. So I know my highest point is 18, and I'm going to eat the 18 because that's the highest it's going. So there's my range. Reflection could also be, honestly, if I wanted to reflect over the x-axis or the y-axis like this, but I'm not going to talk to you guys about that too much. That would be something you'll learn in Algebra 2. Okay, so here's your setup. Just to let you guys know, these three things right here, they won't change. They'll all be the same. All right, next what you do is you take your vertex form. So once again, here's my vertex form. And you're going to create a standard form equation, okay? When you guys do that, please make sure that you follow these steps appropriately to multiply everything out. So first thing is we're taking this value right here, the x minus 25, and we're breaking it out into two pieces. Because that's what squared means. It means you're breaking out into two pieces, okay? Then what you're going to do is use either the FOIL method or the box method or Punnett square to solve. So I'm going to use the Punnett square. And if you guys remember on the Punnett square, how it works is you basically go on the outside here and you multiply everything on the outside to get the values inside. So x times x is x squared. This would be negative 25x. So would this. And then negative and a negative is a positive 625. So add it all together. You get it's going to be x squared minus negative and a negative is still negative, it's adding. So you add these together plus 625. Okay, so here's my quadratic so far. Now the problem is that we have this piece, okay, but we still need we still need to include, so we have this piece right here, done. But we still need to do this, and then we do that. So the next piece is the front, which means you distribute the A. So it's negative 0.02. Then you take this equation and you multiply it out by doing distribution method, okay? So if I go into a calculator, if I distribute this in, that's kind of simple enough, okay? This one here is going to be negative 0.02x squared. If I go into a calculator, negative and negative is a positive, and I type this in, what's ironic is it actually comes out to be 1, which would be x. Then if I multiply this in, I know that's a negative, because a negative and a positive is still a negative, and this will be 12.5. So now I've distributed the 2. Now I need to combine like terms because I'm still missing the final piece, which is the 18. So I've got to put the 18 in here. So that's what you do right now. 0 to x squared plus x minus 12.5 plus 18. When you add that together, you set it up, plus x, and then it's going to be plus 5.5, and ladies and gentlemen, you are done. This is your standard form equation. And that is it, okay? The rest is graphing. Okay, you graph it up. Create 2 other, so what you want to do is after you're done with this, you go back to, you flip your page over and you go to your turn line 2. Create 2 different points, okay? So you find 2 different points on the graph. It doesn't matter what they are, just make sure that they're different, okay? I want you to diversify your graph in terms of, please don't make 2 lines that just follow the same path. Okay, give me one that maybe is an arch up, give me one that's not so steep, give me one that's really steep. It's up to you, but please make them a little different. It's okay that they cross, it's okay that they actually never hit the pigs in the Angry Birds game. It's just a matter of you trying your best, okay? Make it look nice. Figure out how to do this math. It's not that difficult. Most students have already gotten through the first equation. We're going to finish the second one up, and this project is due on Friday, okay? There's only a couple exceptions I'll make, and that is for if you have the assembly or if you've been sick for a couple days, which I have a couple students that have encountered that. So that is it for me. If you have any questions, please come see me in class. Good luck, work hard, pick your points out, graph, make your picture, and have some fun, please.